I've been looking forward to today because of the week that the Browns have had. For as bad as it's gone, we still have a football game to play. There's still a lot on the line this weekend. And I just wanted to get to our Football Friday here on the show. I want to get to the Friday report card. I want to make our NFL picks. I want to talk to Coach Greg Williams, who's going to join us this morning at 9:30. It's getting back to a little bit of normalcy, which is, I think, what we all want after what was a crazy week. Yeah, we got Joe Flacco in town this morning. You might be listening to our show right on the way to the facility. I don't know where he's at. But Joe Flacco is in town working out for the Browns this morning. But beyond everything that happened, you still have football games to play. You still have a rivalry game this weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're home. You're at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Sorry, no longer First Energy Stadium. You're at Cleveland Browns Stadium. The weather today felt like a football type of Friday here. A little bit of rain, a little bit of overcast. It's got everything rocking. We're finally here to dive into some football, to put beyond everything that happened. And we're going to do just that right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning and a very happy Football Friday to everybody. We needed this, Ryan. We had to get here. We still have things to talk about when it comes to Deshaun Watson, but we kind of turned the page a little bit. We're on to Sunday. We'll get to our NFL picks. We got Coach Greg at 9:30. The report card, Sonny Gupta going to join us up at 10:15 to go through our college slate of games. Do you accept the suspension when you didn't do anything wrong? I'm just asking the question to the Michigan faithful out there.
That'll be good, Sonny. Big Michigan fan.
I feel like, Ryan, I've done a good job of not rubbing it in for Sonny Gupta. For those that don't know, Sonny is our Tipico sportsbook manager. Sonny is a Michigan fan. And I felt like over the last couple of weeks, I've taken the high road when it comes to Sonny. I don't want to pile on, Basically, he's got really good insight. He's on his picks, and I don't want to lose him on the show, to be honest. That'd be a blow-up of him never coming back on our show again. But nonetheless, we got a Football Friday to get to. We'll get to college. We got a lot of pro stuff to get to as well. But we do start this morning with the Cleveland Browns. And with where we sit today, knowing that, again, the Ravens got that win last night. Oh, wait. Oh, Joe Flacco goes down. I sent the meme out, Ryan, of the Browns and the Bengals. Your starting franchise quarterback out with an injury after they missed a month with a different injury. There's some parallels there to be had. Now, we don't know if Flacco's going to be out for the year at all. We got to figure that out. But
you mean Burrow?
I'm sorry. Did I say Flacco?
Yeah, I was wondering.
Flacco's on my mind, man. He's here this morning. I don't really know why, to be honest with you. But we'll get to that. So, yeah, Burrow is injured. And people were like in my DMs yesterday and in the Twitter inbox telling me I was crazy that we needed the Ravens to win. And it all comes back to anybody that had a problem with me saying the Ravens had to win yesterday comes back to a belief that, do you think you're going to win the division? Do you think the Browns are still in it for the division? And we'll post as our Twitter question this morning. Do you still think do you believe the Browns still have a shot at the division? Do you think the Browns still have a shot at the division after everything that's happened with us? And then now you fold in that Baltimore got that win last night. The reason I wanted Baltimore to get that win is because I am focused on the wild card. I'm going to go ahead and cast a vote on that poll before it even gets posted. I'm out on the division. I am. And I get it. People are trying to look at the beyond the wins and losses. Okay, you got this tiebreaker here, and if you could beat the Bengals and you have them up 2-0. Folks, the Ravens have this division. And that's fine. And that's literally where I have put my mind. So I wanted the Bengals out of this thing. Beyond Burrow getting hurt, a loss last night helped bury them in the wild card. And that is where I have put my focus. That is where I've turned my attention for the Browns. You're in the wild card spot right now. You stay there. Now, Sunday, I know, is a division game. Ryan, I look at that more of a wild card game. The same thing, the biggest reason that the Browns need a win on Sunday is to go knock the Steelers a peg back in the wild card. And the more time that you try to spend worrying about the division, you could let the wild card slip away. A win is a win. I need the Browns to take care of victories. If you win, everything else will solve itself. That's the NFL. As long as you win on Sundays, everything else will take care of itself. So with where the Browns sit, yeah, you had a division game, but I look at it more as that's another team fighting for the wild card. The other part, you have this separation right now in the AFC, which helps the Cleveland Browns. We are beyond the midpoint of the season right now. So you take out the 4 division leaders, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Jags, and the Dolphins. We are tied at 6-3 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And lo and behold, Ryan, the Houston Texans now hold the final wild card spot at 5-4. The Colts, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Bills are all 5-5. The Chargers and the Jets and the Broncos are all 4-5. So I look at it beyond Houston, which, again, the Colts, you already beat them. You've already beaten the Bengals once. We will see the Texans later this year, and correct me if I'm wrong, we see the Broncos in a couple of weeks. That's that 2-for trip out there on the West Coast. We play Denver, and then we go play the Rams. Those are the games I'm now focused on. Those are now the games that I'm looking at. Let Baltimore run away. You don't know how to play them anymore. And if anything, Baltimore can help you on the way out the door, because Baltimore's got to play Pittsburgh one more time. Here's where Baltimore sits. God, this mic is all off.
You okay, Matt?
Yeah, we're a little flustered this morning. A little bit. Not as flustered as Wednesday morning, but nonetheless, we're good to go. All right, here's Baltimore. Baltimore on the way out. They play the Chargers Thanksgiving week next weekend. That would be a nice win for Baltimore to get to help us out. And then they only play the Steelers. Okay, so maybe they don't have very many games that would help us out on the way out the door. But nonetheless, I'm now focused on those teams in the wild card. And that is solely where my attention is. And again, you talk about this weekend, Pittsburgh's got the one up on you. Right now, the only tiebreaker between the Browns, or the only tiebreaker they have to go to, Pittsburgh already beat you. Now, you beat them this weekend, you're 1-1, and then it goes to some other tiebreakers. Sunday's game is massive. Sunday's game is so imperative, not just for the get back on track, prove to yourself that you can win without Deshaun Watson. And I can only imagine, as much as I feel relieved to get to Friday for a little normalcy, everybody in that building, same thing. The players, like, to get to practice, to be able to get out to this game on Sunday and be ready to go, to get back to some normalcy, but to prove it to themselves on Sunday against the Steelers, massively important. But the wild card, that's what's on the line for Sunday. I know we had grand ideas this season. I wanted the Browns to win the division this year. That's not going to happen. Does a wild card playoff berth mean anything to you? It should. It should. If you can make it through all of the hell that we've had to go through this season, that is something to be proud of. The problem is the expectations that we all had, those are gone. Those are gone. Outside of DTR coming in and pulling a Tom Brady when he took over for Drew Bledsoe, I'd love that to be the case, but I don't know if that'll happen. Or Nick Foles, or whatever example you want to use. Outside of that happening, I think the best you can do is make the playoffs and as a wild card team. And that would go a long way for the perseverance of this team. Yes, it would go a long way for Kevin Stefanski and the players and the like. But still, I want to do that. Are my goals to make an AFC championship game slim? Yes. So I have recalibrated my expectations to say, I want to make the wild card. I want to make the playoffs. You're telling me you don't want to go to the playoffs and see just what happens? That's it. And our path right now, in my opinion, is the wild card. So to vote on our Twitter question this morning, do you believe the Browns still have a shot at the division? I don't. And that's fine. That's fine. Look at Sunday, not as a division game, but as a wild card game. And if you can get a game up on Pittsburgh, sure. And I will start scoreboard watching. Houston this weekend. Cardinals. Could be a little bit of a dicey game. Colts are on their bye. The Raiders. Dolphins. Okay, there's a win for Miami. That's going to knock them back down. We know Cincinnati's already down. Buffalo. The Jets. They'll probably get a win there. I'm starting to scoreboard watch. I am. Of games outside of ours, there's games that can help it out. And especially after Monday, we'll have that updated ranking. We'll have an update of where we're at. I feel like the wild card's the way to go. I feel like that's where we have to be. So I'm out. I think the division is too much for us. Ryan Cash wrote this morning, do you believe the Browns can still win the division?
I actually still have a sliver of hope, but it's very slim. And it's such a shame because when we beat the Ravens, I truly believed we were actually going to win the AFC North if we beat the Steelers.
Vaulted.
This Sunday. So just to vote, I would say no. I don't think we're going to go to the playoffs. I'm confident to sit here and say this. We're going to go to the playoffs regardless of this whole debacle. But the AFC North, yeah, I don't – man, I thought we were finally going to win one for once in my lifetime, and it was going to be special. But it's okay.
Once in everybody's lifetime, we've never won the AFC North, Ryan.
Yeah.
Back in the day, AFC Central and all that kind of stuff, we've never won. We haven't won the division since '89, but in this current incarnation of the AFC North, you've never won it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to win it. I think we really have realistically no shot. But I'll take a wild card, Matt.
I'll take a wild card. I will be ecstatic to have a wild card game. And, the crappy thing is it's not going to be a home game. You'll be on the road, but just make it. And I think that will go a long way for the future. As dark as it seems right now, you are setting the rest – I don't want to say the rest of the years of Deshaun Watson, but you are setting up next year and the year beyond. All that kind of stuff matters. When I'm trying to understand what I can pull out of this season – the culture and the players and all that kind of stuff is the best that I got right now. That is the best that I have right now. So we're going to go for that. I'd be remiss to say that we're 10 minutes in the show and I've not mentioned it. The amazing news that we all got yesterday that Jim Donovan is back in the booth. That's going to bring us some good karma on Sunday. We all love Jim. Dude, I've been doing this job not as long as some other people, but I've been doing it about 15 years. And I can tell you that I've met a lot of people doing this. And they always say don't ever meet your heroes. In this business, Jim Donovan is one of my heroes. Seriously, he is one of the people that when I was at Baldwin Wallace College, because it was Baldwin Wallace College when I went there, it's university now. When I went there and getting ready to start my venture in this craziness that is media, Jim Donovan is somebody I've always looked up to. And getting a chance to then meet him and getting to know him a little bit just out there in Berea, he is one of the nicest people I've met doing this. He always had a kind smile and a hi when I saw him. And even when I first started out, which I think is the real mark, when you look at some people, when I was some idiot kid at 24 years old, now I'm an idiot 34-year-old, but when I first started the industry, there's no reason that anybody deserved to give me any time. And he was one of the people that did. I love Jim. Everybody in this town does. So his battle with leukemia, we're so happy that that is on a good track, and he's going to bring us some good karma on Sunday. So I want to just send our well wishes out to Jim. He's the absolute best. We're so happy to have him back on the call on Sunday. So that's going to give us a little bit of juice for the game as well. And of course, Steelers, Browns, Donovan is back. It is the best. So well wishes to Jim, and we're so happy to have him back on the call on Sunday. To where we sit today this morning with the Browns, Joe Flacco took 10 minutes to trend on Twitter because he is in town. Now, the interesting part, and this comes from Jake Trotter, he is the only quarterback at the workout this morning. So I thought there would be more. But for right now, it's just Flacco. What does that tell me? That he is probably their number one option. He was the most attainable because he was on the street, and they feel like he's their best option. So they bring him in for this workout. I'm assuming, what do you learn from a workout? I don't know. But they'll see if he's still got it, all the moves or whatever. They'll sign him to the practice squad. There's no need for them to put him on the active roster right now. So they'll sign him to the practice squad, and then you get your 4 standard elevations up to the active roster. I know you have a roster spot open with Watson, but there's no point. I mean, you can play this game for a little bit of keeping him on the practice squad. Do I think there will be other quarterbacks that come in? I don't know. I mean, I really thought there'd be a few of them. But there's a chance that in an hour or two, the Browns come out and they say, yeah, we've signed Joe Flacco. And there is just something there is something just so full circle about that, right? There is something so full circle about Joe Flacco coming back and potentially joining the Cleveland Browns.
I'll tell you what, Matt. Time is a flat circle.
It is.
One thing I've learned. And hey, Joe Flacco, 10-1.
I know.
At Cleveland Browns Stadium.
Now, again, he's not bringing Ed Reed and Ray Lewis with him. Okay, so don't forget that he's not bringing some of the players that he had on those Baltimore squads when he was beating up the Browns. Yeah, that Jets win last year. We all know that debacle. like, do you do this or am I crazy? That there are some players that you just feel like the gravity of the universe will bring them to your team. And I say this in hindsight. I don't know why. I always felt Jadeveon Clowney would find his way to the Cleveland Browns one day. I don't know why I ever felt that, and lo and behold, he did. By the way, balling his ass off over there for Baltimore. Where the hell was that last season? Oh, that's right. They were getting miles to the Hall of Fame. That's what he said on the way out the door. I don't know why. There was just, you just, like, players that come through, you just like, oh, yeah, they'll always make their way to Cleveland. I don't know why.
You have a bold prediction right now? Who's the next player that you're thinking of? Could maybe be on the Browns?
On the Browns? I don't know. That's a great question. I'd like it to be Mike Evans for some reason. That is out there. But, like, Flacco. That's one I would say I never thought. Like, and never in a million years would I think that I would see a Joe Flacco jersey for the Cleveland Browns. That's what they got to do. Would you, I don't even know how to do this, scale it for me on a Joe Flacco sign? Would that do it for you? Would a Joe Flacco signing do it for it? Relative. We know what's available. We know you can't go trade for Josh Allen. Relative on the available guys, does Joe Flacco do it for you?
It's tough to say because, like, I haven't seen him play since, really. I've never watched
Nobody really
since that Jets game. Honestly, though, at this point, looking at the quarterbacks that are available, right, what's the one thing you're looking for? You're going to get a vet that can control the game, that's smart, that's not going to turn the ball over, knock on wood. And I'm fine with it. I mean, like, what else are we gonna do? And if all else fails, it's a fun signing, I think.
My biggest thing about this signing, and I think Flacco checks the box on this, a guy that can handle this situation. Like, if you went and got Trevor Siemian or David Blau off of a practice squad, I don't know if they're going to be able to quite come in, because no matter what, Flacco coming in, people are going to look and expect him to start, and they're going to expect him to play. And that is a really hard situation to be in. And I think I needed a veteran guy to just provide some calmness. Like, is Flacco got everything left that he had? No. Was he ever actually really that good? I don't think so. Like, Joe Flacco's not a Hall of Famer. He won a Super Bowl. He's not going to the Hall of Fame.
This 2012 season is pretty special. I think was that 2012?
I think so. I looked him up yesterday. I think he's made my biggest thing on the Hall of Fame is all pros, and he never made an all pro.
When I think of Joe Flacco, I just always go back to that Denver game during that season when they somehow came back and won, and he threw that. I forget who caught it. Do you remember? You know what game I'm talking about, Matt? It was the Broncos game. I don't think it was the AFC Championship. I think it was the divisional round. But, like, they were down, and with, like, a couple minutes left, like, busted coverage down the right sideline.
I think I remember what
and they took the lead. And yeah, it was.
I mean, I could just start throwing out Ravens receivers of a pass. I don't know if it was Derek Mason.
Mike Wallace. Was he on the Ravens?
He was a Steelers guy. I don't know if he ever made it for the Ravens, but.
Because it wasn't Torrey Smith.
Quadri Ishmael was already gone.
Somebody in the comments got to help me out.
Somebody help out. Somebody help out young Ryan over there. Ryan Tyler 33, or in the comments on YouTube, which I guess I feel bad. We don't read a lot. I mean,
I have him up in my.
You got him. All right, good. Pull him up. Matt Fontana show there on YouTube. Okay, to completely digress for a second too. Talking about all pros, because I saw somebody say that Russell Wilson was a first ballot Hall of Famer, because that's all coming out with him now, and I'm like, wait a minute here. Okay,
he's got the rings.
So does Flacco. He's got as many rings as him. He made 1 second-team All-Pro. Russell Wilson in his career made 1 second-team All-Pro. I think to be a Hall of Famer, you got to go at least a couple of All-Pro nominations there. He's a 9-time Pro Bowl. That doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm not saying Russell Wilson not a Hall of Famer, but for this first ballot crap, I don't know about that, but I digress for a second. I don't think Joe Flacco's a Hall of Famer. But him coming here just provides that little bit of calm. I guess calmness, really the word that I'm talking about is stability. It goes to the same thing you're talking about, Ryan. Just don't turn the football over and be that game manager. Now, this weekend for Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and I can't wait to talk to Coach Greg. 10 minutes, Coach Greg is going to join us, and my first question out of the gate is going to be about, well, not out of the gate, but DTR. I got to talk to him about DTR. Because I'm going to look at DTR this weekend, and I want to prevent him from doing too much. And that can happen to a lot of players, and that's something I think we need to guard against as a team. It would be easy for Myles Garrett and David Njoku and Amari Cooper and all these guys to start this game on Sunday and say, I got to do everything. I got to go out there and make this play. And that leads to penalties. That leads to mental mistakes when you feel like you got to do everything. So the same thing with DTR. Avoid the doing too much. You don't need to do everything, especially for DTR. Call up some short stuff, get some screens there. Getting the running game going Sunday will be vitally important for this game. Massively important. And you face a good front. All of those things are how you kind of safeguard for this game coming up on Sunday. I expect Flacco to be signed. I expect him to be here. We'll see. The other thing about Sunday is going to be the tackle situation. DeJuan Jones sounds like he's coming back. You will have James Hudson. And again, you got that win against the Ravens, the number 1 sack team in the NFL last week, with 2 backup tackles. So that in itself, of Jones coming back, I would assume he's going to start at right tackle. Just slide him back in there, and you move James Hudson over to left. That's fine. I think that'll give you a little bit of help. That's going to give you a little bit of a boost for Sunday's game. Other than that, injury, Denzel Ward spoke to the media. It sounds like he's going to play. So relative of missing Deshaun Watson, the Browns are going to be getting a little more healthier coming back into this game, which will really help. We got a lot more NFL to get to. We have a lot of Browns I want to get into with Groach Craig coming up, but we got to talk Harbaugh's suspension, man. So this comes out yesterday that he has fully accepted his 3-game suspension. He's out for the Ohio State-Michigan game in 2 weeks. And I just think it's so funny to see the posturing that Michigan was doing. And we didn't do anything wrong. We'll just take this suspension and we'll move on. And it's twofold. It's they know what they did, and they know they deserved it. But also, is this a guarding against more discovery? Was this accepting it because they don't want the Big Ten poking around anymore? They don't want them investigating a bunch of other stuff. They just don't want that to happen. I wonder. Now, for me, as I've navigated this whole thing, all I ever wanted it to be was over. I thought it was stupid. Michigan knows what they did. And I sit here kind of relieved. Now we can maybe not talk about this. The only thing you got to remember, the only thing that ended was the Big Ten investigation. The NCAA could still be like, all right, we're going to take a look at this. I don't think now, for right now, this is fine. Accept the 3-game suspension and let it play out from here. And once we get to the offseason, then maybe the NCAA will take a look. I'm fine with that. I truthfully am. It is just hilarious to see how Michigan handled this. And there's a point, I saw this a lot yesterday, it might have been from Adam Rittenberg, that Michigan probably was trying to posture up and hope that they could muscle the Big Ten out of this. And when they realized that that wasn't going to happen, they go, okay, well, we'll just take this and move on. But for them claiming all of this crap and is it Michigan versus everybody or Michigan against the world? What did they steal from us? Michigan versus everybody?
Michigan versus everybody.
Okay, yeah, fine. Good. Great job. Good job on their part. You don't really have much ground to stand on anymore when you basically admit you knew what happened. The funniest part of all of that in the statement was something along the lines of they maintain that Harbaugh didn't know anything. Like, they can get out of this still with that solace. Like, well, Harbaugh didn't know anything. Oh, my ass. There's no way. Let me find the statement. This morning, the university, Coach Harbaugh, and the Big Ten resolved their pending litigation. Stay away from pending litigation, Ryan. For the rest of your life, do everything you can to stay away from pending litigation. The conference agreed to close its investigation, and then Harbaugh and the university agreed to accept the 3-game suspension. He decided to accept the sanction to return the focus to our student athletes and their performance on the field. The conference has confirmed that it's not aware of any information suggesting Harbaugh's involvement in the allegations. So what they're going to go to sleep tonight or last night saying is Harbaugh still didn't know about it, but the Big Ten popped him for lack of institutional control. That's really what they're going for here. If that's what they wanted to accept it to try to keep Harbaugh they didn't know. I find that hard to believe. I really do, as we wake up this morning discussing about Jim Harbaugh accepting his 3-game suspension.
I don't know, man. I kind of feel bad for Jim Harbaugh. I might send him an edible arrangement or something.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I thought you were some joke beyond the edible arrangement thing. I don't know. I was like,
no.
I'm like that.
Like poor James Harbaugh.
Yeah. You've been sitting there, poor him, poor Michigan. They know what they did. But accepting of the at least accepting of the suspension, we can all move the hell on with it. So he's out. Will it really matter? We'll see. Certainly more for the Ohio State Michigan game. There was a part where I didn't want them to have any excuses for this game because, they'll cry poor if they lose that game that they didn't have them. But I don't really care at this point anymore. He accepts the suspension, but he didn't do anything. That's a weird world that we live in. All right, let's do this. Let's catch our break coming up here in a minute because Greg Williams, Coach Greg, former Browns interim head coach, longtime defensive coordinator, former NFL head coach, he's got his show. Come Get Some. It's every Monday right here on Big Play, and he is going to join us. I got a lot of questions for Coach Greg. Really, what would you say to your team? As you wake up and get the news that Deshaun Watson is out, what are you saying to that team? And then also, I want him to put his DC hat back on. How would you attack Dorian Thompson-Robinson? What are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to try to do to Dorian Thompson-Robinson this weekend? No better person to talk to than a former NFL head coach on how do you keep this damn thing on the rails. Coach Greg Williams going to join us next. It's Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Don't go anywhere. All right, back here on the Matt Fontana Show. Really excited to talk to Coach Greg here in just a second. There's a lot of things going on with the Cleveland Browns. The biggest thing, how do you keep this on the rails? You got a division game this weekend. You're still in a wild card spot. And we bring in Coach Greg Williams. Of course, you can watch Come Get Some every Monday night right here on Big Play. You guys are on Bally's. Coach, happy Football Friday, and we welcome you into the show. Appreciate your time.
I really, really appreciate you having me on, and I love that you call it Football Friday. I've called that for, 40 plus years of coaching, at all levels of ball and everything. And this is a fun time But it's a crazy time, just like with a lot of different teams in the league. A lot going on.
Coach, this is a loaded question, but how would you have handled it Wednesday morning? The news comes down, Deshaun Watson is out for the year. I'm sure of the 50 guys, the practice squad, everybody's hanging their heads. You stand up in front of the team. What are you saying?
I'm standing up in front of the team and saying it's now time for you all to stand up. Stand up and get ready to roll. It's not just about one position, even though we all know in the National Football League, that position is the most pivotal and toughest position and top position on the team. But there are 21 other guys on the field doing their jobs at different point in times. Now it's all time for us to step up. Each and every one of us can find a way to take it to another level. Each and every one of us as players and as coaches, okay? It's time for us to do what team says. We are a team, not just an individual group of players, and it's time to show up.
Coach, is there a tough part of doing too much? You know, I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the show where there are guys that are perennial all-pros, right? Miles and Batonio and all these guys. Is there a guard against, I need you to step up here, but also, just like you were saying, you don't need to do this all yourself. We're still that team.
Oh,
that's what coaches are for. That's what we're supposed to be doing to make sure we have vision, we have instincts, we have feel of seeing that take place. But it's about doing our own job, every single one of us. And there's tons of ways to win games. There's tons of philosophies of how to run an offense, how to run a defense, how to run special teams. But now, in all honesty, it comes down to even more from a coach's point of view on game management, on how you have to go about doing your job, to do a different way of doing your job, to manage the game for the players that are playing the game for us.
Coach Greg Williams joining us as always. Come get some Monday nights right here on Big Play and, of course, on Bally's as well. Coach, can this defense carry it? Is that simple to load this up on the defense and say, guys, we're going to need some turnovers. We're going to have to play ball control. How far do you think this defense can take the Browns?
And I think they've just scratched the surface. I love the fact of what Jim Schwartz has done. As you know, he and I have worked together, which is I've had a chance to work with, and he does a very good job. And yes, and coming down the stretch, going down the stretch of the season, at the end of the season, it's about those premier parts of your team taking another step too. And defensively, you mentioned it. Excuse me. You mentioned it. It's about getting some more, not turnovers, takeaways. On defense, it's takeaways. And that's taking the ball away and creating, especially when you have you're playing the offense in their backed up part of the fields. So I think this defense is very, very sound. I think this defense has only scratched the surface on how good it can be, but the next step is getting more takeaways.
Coach, I want you to put your DC hat back on for a second. How would you attack Dorian Thompson-Robinson? He's a rookie quarterback. We know he's got a lot of athletic skill. He can move around right there. I want to see kind of your thoughts on maybe what the Steelers are going to try to do to DTR on Sunday.
Tomlin and I are very close friends, and it'll be interesting for me to see what he does. But when you play against a young guy like that, and a guy that's been able to, for his whole life, whenever things go wrong or whenever things are different from what he was expecting them to be, then he bails himself out with his legs. Don't let him run the ball. Make him have to, function at the top of the world in this league of football by throwing the ball whenever it's a pass called. And the big part of it, I'm sure they're going to have more RPOs, run pass option type things scheduled into the game plan for him, is make him hand it off or make him throw the ball, but don't allow him to run the ball. And that's going to be a big part of it. The other thing is, with his limited time on the field and his limited time at this level, is how do you as a defense change what he is expecting to see post snap by about what you're aligning up pre-snap in your alignment. And we have a key word with that. And I started that about 2 decades ago in the league, and it became, everybody catching on to doing that. And not very many teams do it as much as I have done it. But how do we make the decision of the quarterback different once the ball is snapped to him than what he thought it was going to be? A young quarterback, that's it's not too hard to do. So I think that you'll see the defense by the Steelers to try to confuse him post snap.
Coach, if you had to have coached against Joe Flacco, so he's up this morning. He's here for the workout. What do you think that brings to the team to have at least a veteran kind of maybe calming presence a little bit? And how much do you think Flacco has left in the tank?
Not only have I coached against him, and I have a lot of respect for him, I coached on the same team with him at the end there with the Jets.
That's right, yeah.
And so I learned even more about him going through things with him every day in practice, being in meetings with him, being just socially with him in different parts of the building and on the road trips and stuff. He's a very sharp man. He's a very intelligent at what he does. And I do believe, and I think Andrew Berry, I think that's very smart. How do you get another veteran presence in that room along with the coaching staffs? And Alex Van Pelt played for me back in the old days when I was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. So now Alex has another teammate as a coach, a player that has veteran experience. And both of those guys will do a good job with that. And I think that's great that there's another guy in the building that the players will feel comfortable about, and Joe's very open with that, will feel comfortable about asking questions to help them play.
That's a coach, great segue to a question I wanted to ask you. What's that balance of, I'm sure the locker room looks at DTR and says, hey, there's some excitement about this kid, right? He's got all these skills. He can maybe get out there and play it around, but then there is a little more of a calming guy of Joe Flacco. He's played a lot in the league. He knows what he's doing. He's seen these defenses. Does that at all factor in as if you were the head coach making the quarterback decision of how it impacts the rest of the team? Or are you talking strictly X's and O's, the best player to give us a chance to win?
I would say yes to everything you just said. It does have a calming effect of the locker room, the whole mental state of what our team has to go into this fist fight that we're going to have the rest of the season. Now, it's not going to happen immediately. Joe's going to have a little bit of time of getting involved with the language, okay, of how to call the formations, how to call the cadence, how to call the plays, what the specific checks and audibles are going to be. But he's very sharp with all that. And then as he gets adjusted, it'll be fun for people to see how he all of a sudden is like another coach on the staff when you see him communicating with the players in practice and even on game day, in between series and stuff. Watch what he's saying to them, because it's pretty tough to confuse or trick him anymore with all the different things he's seen.
Coach Greg Williams joining us. Come get some Monday nights right here on Big Play and, of course, on Bally's. Coach, you've had a lot of football games you've been a part of. Browns, Steelers. You mentioned the fist fight that it's going to be. Tell everybody this rivalry is one of the best in all of football, and as it always has been, extremely physical. What does that mean Sunday, Browns, Steelers?
Yeah, it's going to be that way, and I think if anybody saw our show last week when we, as the Browns were going to the Ravens back in the old days, Jeff Fisher started this with me when he came off of Buddy Ryan's staff and everything. And we were together at the Houston Oilers and the Tennessee Titans, but we called it a bat game. This is going to be physical. Okay, this is going to be about every blade of grass. This is going to be about imposing your will. The contact that's in this game is going to be very, very supreme, and you'll see how they're flying around to the ball. This is the epitome with the Steelers and the Browns of that type of game. You'll see, guys ending up, whoever the running back is, facing the sidelines or going back towards the huddle he just came with. You'll see, multiple people flying directions towards passes and being around pass breakups and interceptions. it's going to be a fist fight in the phone booth. It's going to be one of those physical games, and I think the fans are going to enjoy it just because of the fact of this is going to be old school way of playing football.
Is there something, Coach, you look at Sunday specifically? Is it a matchup that you're looking at, a phase of the football game that really is going to be key for the Browns to get that win?
Yeah, I do believe it's going to be a key when the offensive line of the Cleveland Browns can get first downs by how they control the line of scrimmage, how they give relief to a young quarterback. We understand about what it is in pass protection. We understand all that kind of stuff. But you know what the best form of pass protection is? Run the damn ball. And all of a sudden you're running the ball and you're not worrying about all that other goofy stuff that's going on in tricking protections and tricking coverages and that kind of stuff. It's about running the football. It's about the running back putting his head down and getting ready to roll and finding how he's going to cut on one-step cuts and running downhill and not trying to be fancy with the football. And that's Cleveland Browns.
Coach, love talking ball with you. We really appreciate it. Tell everybody, come get some. You guys have had Eddie George on. Rodney McLeod was in studio. You had Joe the Showbird. One of my favorite. Coach, I know you coached him for a long time, but I love Joe Showbird's story. Walk on to Wisconsin into a great NFL career. You guys have so many amazing guests. You and Blake, great football talk. It's every Monday night right here on Big Play and also on Bally's. I love the show, Coach. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate you guys saying that. I can't believe I've gone over to the dark side with you guys and doing this stuff. I do like the fact that they named the show Come Get Some, and there's going to be a lot of other great players that, they're going to come on the show. And I'll give you a little secret coming up. I'm going to have Ryan Clark come on the show on a Monday night now that he's doing Monday Night Football. So he'll come on the show, and Antonio Pierce, now the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, he's going to come on the show and do some stuff with us. But it's just going to go on and on and on. Chris and Hallie Long, all those guys, they're going to come on, and I'm sure that they're going to find ways to bust my ass about something.
I'm sure it wouldn't be fun, Coach, if they didn't. That list right there, Ryan Clark, one of the premier ESPN analysts. I'm sure Antonio Pierce has a lot of interview requests now as the head coach of the Raiders, but he's coming on. Come get some. Coach, we really appreciate it. We can't let you go without a spirited come get some for the fans out here. Give it to them, Coach.
All right, here we go. I'll say break, and everybody says, ready, break, come get some.
There it is. Coach Greg Williams, come get some. We'll be watching Monday night. Thanks again, Coach.
Thank you.
There he goes. Needed that. Needed that on a Friday, Ryan, to get rolling here. We had a fire alarm go off in the middle of Coach's interview. Didn't even dissuade him. That's how professional Coach is. We needed that on a Friday. I loved it. And we talked a lot about the quarterbacks. I was going to see how Coach felt as a head coach about the factor of the team. And he said straight up, that all factors in. Yeah, you got to play, but what that says to the rest of that locker room, if you're going to go with DTR or if you're going to bring in Joe Flacco, that's the stuff you can't miss. Dude, I'm blown away on that list that they have on Come Get Some coming up.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Ryan Clark.
He started with some good guests, but I'm telling you, it's just getting better. That's impressive, and I'm excited to watch that because, like you said, it's a very good show.
It's great.
And one thing that's super interesting about it is it's a former coach, right? The stories,
I can talk ball with Coach all day.
The stories that he has on that show are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Come Get Some with Coach Greg and his son Blake. Great show.
It is absolutely the best. Check it out everywhere that you need. All right, Ryan, it is that time for our picks with Tipico.
Ready? Let's go around the league.
Let's get to it. Around the league. Let's get to our picks, as always, presented by our great friends at Tipico. Ryan should be pretty happy over there.
I'm
you
excited,
should be
Matt.
pretty happy.
Great day for me.
Get signed up. Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY200. Folks, we have increased the new sign-up package for you, if you will. You download the app, Tipico, use the code BIGPLAY200. You deposit $50, get $200 in that bonus bets, and you can bet with us all season long. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions are all on the website. Check it out there. But download the app, get those bonus bets, and play along with us all season long. Cavs are in action tonight. We'll get to our bets a little bit later on. We cashed there on Thursday Night Football. Ravens -3. that's one of the things I love about Tipico. You got the alternate spreads, and I tell you so much about all the boosts. And the boosts are savory in their own right. And really, the cool thing is, when you go to the Tipico app, signing in right now, you go right to the homepage, and they have an entire page of just all the boosts they got rolling right now. College football, NFL, college basketball, NHL. Dude, they got a Formula One boost for this weekend in Vegas, which that Vegas race is becoming a nightmare. But anyway, you're into Formula One. How about this? Both Ferrari cars to finish in the top 3. That is plus 700. That's Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, I believe, are both the Ferrari guys. I know a little bit. I know racing. I'm more of a NASCAR guy. But you can go bet on NASCAR, or you can go bet on, well, NASCAR dumb, but you can go bet on Formula One. It's all in your Tipico app, folks. Download it. Use that code, BigPlay200. Ryan, give him another woo for you over there, because you deserve it, my young friend.
I tell you what, Matt, I'm hot, and we talked about this pre-show. The reason is it's because I haven't been actually betting my
Maybe
picks.
you need to start getting on that. We will see.
Well, for the viewers who don't know, 1 week I actually decided to make my picks. I went a whopping 0 for 9.
Here we are. Ryan comes in 9-2-1 last week. 9-3-1. We had 13 games last week. I gotta add up all your wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ryan Tyler. No, it was not a loss. It was a win. You went 10-2-1 last week.
What can I say, Matt? I'm just trying to make people some money this weekend.
That is now the high mark of the season.
I just want to make people some money this weekend, Matt. What can I say?
I went 4-8-1, so a little bit of a twist there for us, but we both got a win last night. We both took the Ravens minus the 3. Let's run through the slate, and we start 1 o'clock up in Lambeau. Justin Herbert and a team that I have sworn off in the past. The LA Chargers at 4-5, traveling up to take on the Green Bay Packers 3-6. This line opened at 2.5 for the Chargers. It's up to 3. Public money is 75-25, 75% of it on the LA Chargers. They're trying to keep themselves in this playoff hunt. They lost to Detroit on a last-minute field goal. That ended a 2-game win streak for the Chargers. For the Packers, they beat the Rams a couple of weeks ago, but you watched that Pittsburgh game where I thought Pittsburgh didn't play all that well, and Green Bay somehow just played a little bit worse. We come into this game. The Chargers, though, this is historic. I know it's a lot of Phillip Rivers and Aaron Rodgers in this, but they don't play Green Bay well. Chargers are only 2-6 against the spread their last 8 games against the Packers, and they're only 1-7 straight up in their last 8 games in Green Bay. They're only 1-4 straight up in their last 5 games at Lambeau. Chargers on the road, not great. Only 2-4 straight up in their last 6 games on the road. For Green Bay, they're struggling. 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games. 1-5 straight up in those last 6. 3 is the line for the LA Chargers on the road. I hate doing it. I'll take the Chargers. I've sworn them. I have cursed them. I got to take them. I think Green Bay's borderline packing it in. Chargers, I hate that pick. I hate it. Chargers. Ryan?
I'm going to roll with you on this one, Matt. I got Chargers -3. Both teams coming off a loss. A heartbreaking loss there for the Chargers in a shootout against Detroit. And like you said, they're vying for that wild card still. They have the chance to get back to 500. Historically, Lambeau is a really tough place to play, but not really this year. We've seen as the Jordan Love era kind of kicked off. Much better offense for the Chargers, though Keenan Allen is questionable, but I'll roll with the Chargers with you.
All right, the next up, this is a game, Bears-Lions. This is a 7.5-point spread. Ryan, I was doing it this morning, so we are going to pick 12 games on our slate this weekend. We don't do the Browns, and obviously already, Thursday Night Football is already done. But of the 12 games, like 6 of them or 7 of them have a spread of 7 or greater. Like, we have one really epic game on Monday night, which we'll do on Monday. You got a lot of big spreads this weekend. Now, with all that being said, what does that mean? Sometimes big spreads, you can get some money. This is a 7.5-point spread on the side of the Detroit Lions. They are at home in this game. And, of course, it stayed that way all week. 73-27 public money on the side of the Detroit Lions. They're at home. I look at this game, Ryan, because I'm really interested to see Detroit. They're 7-2. They're coming off that big win against the Chargers. The Bears are going to get Justin Fields back in this game. The easy slam here is Detroit. I think I got to take them, right? I think I got to take Detroit.
Yeah, Matt, I'm going to roll with you in this. Home field advantage. Detroit, much better team. And
of all the backdoor cover games that we'll get to, this is kind of one that I think kind of stinks to me a little bit.
Yeah, Detroit, obviously 7-2. They're in the driver's seat for their division. And coming off that great win against the Chargers, this is a game as a Detroit fan, you want to see them not play down to their competition's level. Keep that momentum going as they're getting geared to go for that postseason push. I believe Detroit is by far, obviously, the superior team. I'm going to go with Detroit on this one.
Chicago 4-3-1 against the spread their last 18 games. They're only 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games against Detroit. But Chicago is 7-3 straight up in their last 10 against the Lions. Now that's flipped because that was the long time when the Lions were really bad. Chicago is 1-8 straight up on their last 8 games on the road. You flip it over for Detroit. They're 6-1 against the spread their last 7 games. They are 8-1 against the spread their last 9 games at home. So we are going to ride the Lions here as we roll on. Next up, Titans AFC South battle as they travel to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, yet another team that I have sworn off and don't want to bet anymore, but yet here we are. This is about 75-25. 75% of the public money is on Jacksonville. This line open at 5. I've got it all the way up to 6.5 or 7 on the side of Jacksonville, who is at home in this one. For the Titans, they come into this game losing 4 out of their last 5, including a pretty bad loss to Tampa Bay. I think Will Levis has probably come down to earth a little bit. You flip it over for Jacksonville, and their loss to San Francisco, again, it's San Francisco, that ended a 5-game win streak. But here's the thing, Ryan. They looked outclassed in that San Francisco game. They lost 34-3. And then did you see what Doug Peterson said this week about Trevor Lawrence? He said the offense goes as Trevor Lawrence's health goes. Is he hurt? What is that?
I know he was hurt. Remember that Saints game? It was that game-time decision.
That was a weird statement to make. Now, Travis Etienne got brought back down to earth a little bit. They still have Christian Kirk. Now with the Zay Jones stuff, he's kind of out. I question some things there with Jacksonville. I don't know if I like this at 7, but let's see. Tennessee's 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games, but they are 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games against Jacksonville and 9-3 in their last 12 against the Jags. Jags come in 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games. They're 7-3 straight up their last 10 games at home. I'll let you go first here. 7, Jacksonville, Tennessee. Kind of stinky, Ryan.
It is a stinky game, Matt, and it's a division game, so it's going to be pretty testy. It is in Jacksonville again.
Correct.
However, Trevor Lawrence has been struggling, that's for sure. Jacksonville's another one of those teams that's hard to gauge. They had that 5-game win streak. They're sitting at 6-3, pretty good. But they haven't really played all that well, and especially last week we saw them get decimated. However, I'm going to roll with the Jags in good faith to have a bounce-back game. Tennessee really has nothing going for him outside of Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill is not very good, although Will Levis, he's coming, and he's kind of gave him a little bit of momentum, but I don't think enough to go into Jacksonville and beat them, so I'll roll with Jacksonville.
I'll take Tennessee. Something about it stinks. I'll take Tennessee. Next up, another 1 o'clock kick. This is down at Hard Rock Stadium. The Miami Dolphins, fresh off their bye and their trip to Germany against Kansas City, they entertain Aiden O'Connell and the resurgence Las Vegas Raiders. Miami 6-3. Raiders coming in at 5-5. This line opened at 7.5. It is all the way to 13. And 91% of the public money is on the Miami Dolphins to get a cover. I don't like that, because Vegas didn't build all those nice, big, fancy buildings out there by not taking advantage of some people. Vegas has won 2 straight, of course, under Antonio Pierce. The question is who they beat, the 2 New York teams that are not great. You flip it over for Miami. As we mentioned, that Germany trip, they lost to Kansas City. But here's the thing, they're streaky. They win 3 straight to start. They lose to Buffalo. Then they lose or win 2. Then they lose to Philly. They win 1. They lose 1. Here's the crazy thing. There are only 3 losses on the year to Buffalo, which is a little shocking, and then to Philly and Kansas City. We know Miami is one of the best teams in football. They're at home. They're out of the bye. This is tough. Vegas is 4-2 against the spread their last 6 games, but they are only 1-6-1 against the spread their last 9 games against the Miami Dolphins. For the Dolphins, they're coming in hot, 9-3 against the spread their last 12 games, and they are 5-0 against the spread their last 5 home games. I'll take the Dolphins in this one. It's a big number, but I'll take Miami.
Yeah, 13 is a giant spread in the NFL. However, this is the first road test for the new Antonio Pierce-led Raiders. We know Miami's deal. They like to pick on the bottom feeders of the team, although the Raiders are 5-5. I expect Miami to bounce back, pick on a rookie quarterback at home. Big number, but I'll take the Dolphins to cover as well.
This is a really interesting one as the Giants make the short trip down to outside D.C. to take on the Washington Commanders. This is a big 9-point spread for Sam Howell and the crew at home at FedEx Field. Opened at 6.5. It's to 9. But the interesting thing is, Ryan, public money's on the side of the Giants, about 65-35 on the side of the New York Giants. Now, we know that they have been decimated by injuries. I think Tommy DeVito's going to have to start again, is he not? There's a lot going on. But the Commanders are another team that I don't know if I'm really buying what they're selling either. Washington coming into this game, they've lost 3 out of their last 4. Now, they were competitive against Philly. They were competitive against Seattle. Well, we'll see. Again, the Giants have been an absolute train wreck. On our trends for this game, I will start with the Giants. They're only 1-7 straight up in their last 8. They're only 2-8-1 against the spread their last 11 games. But how about this against the Washington Commanders? The Giants are 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games against Washington, and 7-2-1 straight up in their last 10 games against the Commanders. The Giants have covered the last 5 games that they have played at FedEx Field against Washington. You flip it over for the Commanders, only 2-6 straight up in their last 8. I'm actually really confident in taking the Giants in this one, Ryan. I don't think the Commanders have anything going for them right now.
Yeah, you never want to bet a Washington spread that's really above 3. That's a tough thing to do. They are at home, and the Giants are struggling mightily. This game is another stinky one, Matt, and I'm kind of conflicted. I'm not sure. I'm going to roll with the Giants as well.
Okay. That's a big... Here's my thing. On big numbers like that, I ask Miami to cover, and I feel like they can't. I don't know if I can ask the Commanders to win by double digits. Trying to speak it into existence there, Ryan. Another 1 o'clock kick down at Bank of America Stadium. The Carolina Panthers at 1-8, welcoming in the Dallas Cowboys. This is a 10.5-point spread. It opened at 8.5, so it's up just a little bit, mostly because 72% of the public money is over there on the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas coming off a throttling of the New York Giants last week. Carolina, they've started to play better. They got that win against Houston. They didn't really play all that well against Indy, and then they got a tough luck loss. Was that prime time against Chicago? Am I missing Thursday night football? So we'll see how that goes. So the mini bye there a little bit for Carolina. It is on the road. Dallas coming in 6-3 against the spread their last 9 games. Dallas is 10-3 straight up in their last 13 games against the Panthers, including 4-1 straight up in their last 5 games when on the road against the Panthers. But Dallas is only 2-4 against the spread their last 6 games on the road. We know Carolina's not winning. Are they covering? Not really. They're only 2-5 against the spread their last 7 games. And again, they don't play Dallas all that well at home. It's 10.5 for the Cowboys on the road. Ryan, I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, so the Cowboys are just a night and day team versus when they're home and on the road. They put up some less points when they're on the road. They're in Carolina, although Carolina is by far, I think, the worst team in the league right now. It's going to be a tough one, but I can't sit here in good faith and say that I don't think the Panthers are going to get blown out. So that being said, I'll take Dak and the Cowboys to cover that.
I'll take Dallas, too. I feel like they're maybe trying to turn their tide a little bit down there, a little bit of Mo there for Dak. I'm with you. A lot of big spreads, which is it's just always so hard for this, but we shall see. An interesting matchup here. Kyler Murray is back. The Arizona Cardinals making the trip over there to take on the Houston Texans. And your gut would say only a 5-point spread here for the Houston Texans against the Arizona Cardinals. You know, he's saying, well, wait, what? Look what Houston's doing. But do you trust them to cover? This open is a 2.5-point spread. It's now to 5. And the public money is actually on the side of the Arizona Cardinals, 65-35 on the side of Kyler Murray and the crew. Of course, Kyler coming back from his first game. And, dude, they beat the Falcons. The Falcons blow, okay? The Falcons suck. Arizona got a 25-23 win last week in their first game back. Houston, 2-game win streak, of course, that big shock over Cincinnati. They got a nice win against Tampa. I guess the biggest question, and maybe why this is only 5 and people are really riding on the cards here, do you expect a giant letdown game here from Houston? You got a huge win over Cincinnati. You're back home. Do you feel like a letdown game is coming? Arizona's only 2-5 against the spread their last 7 games. They are 0-8 straight up in their last 8 games on the road. You flip it over for Houston. They are 5-2 against the spread their last 7 games. But they are not getting it done at home. 4-15-1 straight up in their last 20 games at home. Not great. 5.5 for Houston. I'm going to take C.J. Stroud. I'm going to say they avoid that letdown game. They beat up the Cardinals here by 6. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with the Texans as well, Matt. Their offense has been red hot. Put up 39 against Tampa Bay and then 30 against the Bengals. I just think the Cardinals defense is so trash. And C.J. Stroud's been balling out, and he's my fantasy quarterback, so I'm going to put a good omen out there. So I'll roll with the Texans.
We move on to our 4 o'clock slate, 4:05 out there on the West Coast. Tampa making the long trip to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Tampa coming in at 4-5. 49ers back in the win column. They are 6-3. This is a 10.5. Actually, I'm sorry. I have it at 12. You can get it at 11.5. It opened at 10.5. It's up to 12 because this is one of the biggest public money discrepancies this week. 84% of it is on the side of the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, we know the 49ers starting to get healthy, and they got back in the win column over Jacksonville after a 3-game losing streak. For Tampa, they got a win against Tennessee that ended a 4-game losing streak for Baker Mayfield and crew as they get ready to go take on San Francisco. I'd be remiss if I didn't say it's a Baker Mayfield-Nick Bosa reunion in this game, too, and we know how Nick Bosa handled Baker when he was here in town. We'll see if that has a factor in. Tampa is coming in, though, 6-3 against the spread their last 9 games, but they don't play San Francisco well. Tampa's only 3-6 against the spread their last 9 games against San Francisco, and this is pretty historic, but Tampa's 6-14 straight up in their last 20 games against the 49ers. Tampa is only 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games on the road, and they're only 2-10 straight up their last 12 games at Levi Stadium. You flip it over for San Francisco, 14-6 against the spread their last 20 games. San Francisco, an impressive 11-1 straight up in their last 12 games at home. I mentioned it. They own Tampa Bay when it's at Levi Stadium. I know that the 49ers are going to win this game. Are they going to win it by 13? I don't think so. Tampa and the points plus 12. Ryan.
Yeah, Matt, we're having a lot of similarities here. I want to go
good.
49ers, but I am going to roll with the Bucs here. San Francisco, we just saw them decimate the Jaguars, and 13 points is a hell of a lot in the NFL.
It's a lot of points, man.
So I'll ride with Baker to cover that big number. I'm not totally confident in it, but we'll see.
This is a game that reeks that we should have an instant lock on it. It's Seattle down to SoFi Stadium to take on the LA Rams. 6-3 for Seattle. The Rams are 3-6. They've been hurt all year. 1.5 for Seattle. It's down to just 1 point. This is 60-40 public money on the side of the Rams in this one. Seattle coming in only 5-12-1 against the spread their last 18 games. How about this? Seattle's last 6 games against the Rams, they've not covered once. 0-6 in their last 6 games against the spread against the Rams for Seattle. They're not good on the road either. They're only 2-6 against the spread their last 8 games on the road for Seattle. Seattle's only 2-9 against the spread their last 11 games when they are on the road against the LA Rams. The Rams are not good right now. They're 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games, but they are 5-2 against the spread their last 7 games at home. Stafford gonna play. He's back. Seattle, Ryan. I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna take Seattle in this one.
Alrighty, man. Well, I'm going to roll with the Rams. We saw them beat them in the season opener at Seattle. Now they're at home. Stafford's back. Maybe get a little bit of juice in that locker room. We'll see Cooper Kupp do Cooper Kupp things, I hope. Puka Nacua has always been solid this year. I'm going to roll with the Rams to win this one. Get the series sweep over the Seahawks this year.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it's... Yeah, I mean, again, it's just so many sticky games for this one, but we'll see. Another one at Highmark Stadium, the Bills, fresh off of firing their offensive coordinator. That might be my best thing going for the Bills in this game, right? Do they have that resurgence? Do they have that you shook things up, you fired Ken Dorsey? Do they come out with fire, or do they come out dragging ass and worrying about what Trevon Diggs is saying about his brother Stephon as their, the quarterback thing there with Josh Allen? We shall see. Jets are 4-5. Buffalo is 5-5. This opened at 6.5. It's only to 7, so it's not moved very much. Ryan, the public money on this game is 50-50. Straight down the middle on that 7 between Buffalo and the Jets. Coming into this game, we start with the Jets. They lost 2 straight to the Raiders and the Chargers after winning 3 straight. So really, you got to ask yourself, is the magic run out for the Jets? Now, Buffalo, they've lost 3 out of their last 4. A shocking loss on Monday night to Denver. They lost to Cincinnati. They beat Tampa, and then it really all started going bad when they lost to New England a little while ago. 7 is the spread. Let's get to the trends here. I will start with the Jets. I'll start with the negative. They're only 4-11 straight up in their last 15 games. They're only 2-7 straight up in their last 9 games on the road. Now, here's the thing. The Jets don't beat the Bills. They're only 2-5 straight up in their last 7, but they cover. The Jets are 4-2 against the spread. Their last 6 against Buffalo. You flip it over for the Bills. 0-6 against the spread their last 6 games. But they kind of own the Jets. Buffalo is 8-3 straight up in their last 11 games at home against the New York Football Jets. I got a gut feeling. I want to see if it matches yours. Go ahead.
All right, both teams trying to avoid a 3-game skid. Buffalo is home. It's going to be tough, as it always is, a divisional game. Josh Allen's been turning the ball over like crazy lately, and the Jets do have a premier defense. It's a shame it's kind of going to waste. I want to trust Josh Allen to cover this, but I just can't. I'm going to roll with the Jets.
I was going to take the Jets too, but for the essence of the show, I will take Buffalo. This is a game I could really go either way, so I was honestly going to let you make a pick, and I'll take the opposite one there. So I will take Buffalo. Final one, Sunday Night Football. Could be a good game. The Minnesota Vikings traveling to take on a bit of the resurgence Buffalo Bills. Denver Broncos. What am I saying? Buffalo. Denver Broncos. This one close on the public money. It opened as a 2.5-point favorite for Denver. It has stayed there all week. 55-45, leaning towards the Minnesota Vikings. Ryan, you know me and the guaranteed locks, and this is one of my guaranteed locks of the week. Before I even give you the trends, Justin Jefferson returning, sure. This is Denver all day. This is Denver. I'm waiting for the magic of Minnesota, the Minnesota Miracle Man. No, that was Gordon Bombay. I'm waiting for the magic to run out here a little bit on the Minnesota Vikings, and they could keep proving me wrong, and they could keep saying, no, we got this. I actually think Denver's really starting to figure some things out here. They're at home. It's the custom 2.5, so I'm going to also take the home team in this one in Denver. Minnesota riding an improbable 5-game win streak. Denver on a 3-game win streak of their own. come in. Minnesota's covered in all 5 of those wins. 5-0 against the spread their last 5 games. They are 5-0-1 against the spread their last 6 games on the road. Now, again, this is a historical one. Minnesota's only 2-4 straight up in their last 6 games against the Denver Broncos. You flip it over for the Broncos. 2-4 against the spread their last 6 games at home. But I'm taking Denver. I just got a feeling here that Russell Wilson's starting to figure it out. It makes me cringe to say that. I hate that. But I'm going to take Denver in this game. I think they'll get that cover and the win. Ryan.
Yeah, it'll be interesting as we see Minnesota on this crazy 5-game win streak. We're going to see him in prime time. The real first time we're going to see Josh Dobbs on the Vikings in prime time. I expect maybe a little bit of nerves, and we all know that Mile High is one of the hardest places to play in the NFL. Broncos are hot. Sean Payton seems to get things turned around, and the Denver's defense has really been balling out. Customary home favorite. I'll roll with you on that, man.
All right, Denver it is. Let's catch a break. We'll tell you about Tipico because when we return, Sonny Gupta, sportsbook manager for our friends at Tipico. He's going to join us. We'll run through some of the pro slate games, but we really turn our attention to college as well. Some big matchups there. We'll get all the insight that you need. Sonny Gupta, sportsbook manager for Tipico. He'll join us next. Get signed up with Tipico using that code BIGPLAY200 now. Sonny comes your way next. All right, back here on the Matt Fontana Show. Just ran through all of our picks on the NFL slate. We'll do a little college as well with Sonny Gupta, who will join us, typical sportsbook manager. Use that code BIGPLAY200 when you sign up. You'll get those bonus bets. You can bet with us all season. Sonny, I wouldn't throw Formula One at you, but I saw a boost on Tipico this morning for some Formula One action out there in Vegas. I heard it's off to a horrible start, so I guess you can make some money off of it. You can bet everything you want, any sport that you need. It's all there at Tipico. We bring in Sonny Gupta. Anything on the Formula One race you got for us, Sonny?
I'm not the biggest Formula One guy, but our VP is out there at the race. It starts pretty late at 10 o'clock local time. So yeah, go ahead and bet with us at Tipico. We have a bunch of markets up right now.
Yeah, the boost I saw was both Ferrari drivers to finish in the top 3. It was a pretty nice little boost there on Tipico. But we turn our attention to the pro slate of games. And Sonny, we start with this Browns game, which I'm sure you've seen all the craziness that we have dealt with all week. And we've talked to you about this as a sportsbook manager working for Tipico. Nobody moves a line in any sport like a quarterback, right? When a quarterback goes in or out, nobody moves a line like a quarterback.
Yeah, this is the lowest total, I believe, of the season, definitely for this week, at 33 right now, and understandably so. Obviously, the Steelers' offense has been quite poor this season. I think getting out, they've gotten less yards than their opponent every single week this season. And yeah, with the Browns losing Watson for the season, this looks to be a low total, and I still would not touch the over here. Neither will the public. Right now, we have more money on the under than the over, and more money on the Browns still. I think the public is supporting the defense here with the Browns. They believe that Myles Garrett's going to stop Kenny Pickett. So yeah, we have more money on the under and Browns money line right now.
Sonny, some other big games going on right now this weekend. And really, I would say that relative because we ran through quite a few of the games this morning. And it's such a weird week where, we don't do the Browns game. So other than that, I think we had 12 games that we picked. Sonny, like 6 or 7 of them had lines above 7. So normally we'll see a double-digit one here or there. But to have that many games, you have the Lions-Bears at 7. You got the Titans-Jags at 7. You got the Raiders-Dolphins at 13. Giants-Commanders are 9. Cowboys-Panthers are 10. Bucks-49ers are 12. Jets-Bills are at 7. I guess, how would you look at that? Before we get to these individual games, how do you look at games like that, Sonny, where there's that many big spreads? Some people would say, hey, there's an opportunity to make some real cash there.
Yeah, I mean, we're at that point in the season where we kind of know what teams are looking to do, right? Like, you're either in tank mode, like the Commanders where they traded their 2 starting defensive ends, or you're making a playoff push here. So I think it's quite understandable at this point in the season to see these large spreads. A lot of our customers like parlaying these heavy favorites, seeing if they can get that up to plus odds if you pick these heavy favorites. No, I mean, what I like to do is maybe move the line from a 7 down to a 3, still staying in that football number, but not, laying too much of the minus odds. I think that's how I like to play it, but we do see a lot of our customers parlaying these heavy favorites.
Well, some of the games that are a little bit closer, we'll start with the Jets-Bills on this one. This is 7. We split on the show here, and this was a tough one for me because can we trust Buffalo? They fired Ken Dorsey. Is this a game that they come out and their resurgence? The Jets seem to hang on from some teams. Really, this game seems like a must-win for Buffalo to keep their season alive, Sonny. It's a 7-point home spread for Buffalo. Who do you like there?
Are you still on the you called it early, right? You said
the Bills. But here's the funny thing, Sonny. I took the Bills this weekend, but I am basking in my glory that the Buffalo Bills are just crap like I called them to be. But I did still take them to cover this weekend, which I don't know why I did, but I did.
I got to give it to you. Yeah, no, our book is 80% on the Jets to cover plus 7 right now. No, this is like you said, it's a must win, especially with the Bengals game yesterday with Joe Burrow being out for who knows how long. This is actually for both of them a must win to see if they can lock in that extra playoff spot that seems to be up for grabs now. I like the Bills as well as you. So I'm going to pick the Bills, but the public is on the Jets to cover plus 7.
All right, let's get to the 2 primetime games. Sunday night, Vikings-Broncos, 2.5 on the side for the Broncos. I'd like Denver in this game just because I'm waiting for a little bit of that Minnesota magic to run out. They get Justin Jefferson back. Can Josh Dobbs keep doing what they're doing? I'm actually going to put a lot of this game, Sonny, on the Broncos defense to kind of limit what Josh Dobbs is going to do. And I'm remiss, I didn't look at Typico this morning for the over-under. I like the Broncos, and I would dare say I kind of like the under, maybe a little bit of a defensive struggle here. Vikings-Broncos, your selections, please.
Yeah, I was shocked to see the total be at 42.5.
Ooh,
I really thought it'd be in the 30s. It's quite a high a total compared to the other games in this slate. So the public is actually on the Vikings and Josh Dobbs to keep this magic up there. They love it at plus 115 right now. I'm shocked by that. I do trust Denver's defense. I feel like this will be one of those 17-10 type games here. So I love the under, especially with 42.5 being quite a high number for two quarterbacks that you haven't seen in the past really put up points. Obviously, as of late, they look good, but I like the under. The public is on Minnesota Vikings to win outright.
And then we didn't do this because we do it on Monday, but we won't talk to you until then. So you got to give us a little insight. Eagles, Chiefs. These are the games that you get excited for. I'm happy it's on Monday Night Football. Chiefs, a 2.5-point home favorite. I'm sure there's quite a few tickets coming into Typico, Sonny, for Monday night.
It's so nice to have an actually good game on Monday Night Football like we have here. I feel like we've seen some stinkers, but right now we have our money's actually split right now on the Chiefs and the Eagles on the money line. Obviously, the Chiefs are laying 2.5. The public doesn't know which way to go. The Kelsey Bowl is going to be fun to watch. For me, bet the over, be happy, root for points. That's what I'm going to do. It's 45.5. It's not too crazy. So I'm on the over here.
Sonny Gupta joining us, Typico Sportsbook Manager. Use that code BIGPLAY200 when you sign up. You get those bonus bets. In fact, I've been sitting on one of those $30 credits, Sonny, and I think I'm going to cash this weekend, a little NFL action. Am I wrong? Dude, honestly, no joke. I don't know if you see it on camera. I just put a giant parlay in because you talked about it of just all the favorites. And it's not money line. And I got it to plus 600 on some really big favorites. And I'll go ahead and throw that $30 my bonus bet right there on it. You like it, right, Sonny? Please tell me you do.
There we go. Yeah, parlay these favorites. Make it plus odds. Have a good time with it.
There it is. I'm in. We're rocking right there. And again, you can use it. Bonus codes, they're all there right there on Typico. Use that code BIGPLAY200. To the college slate we go. We start with Ohio State, Minnesota. We'll talk Michigan in a second, Sonny. Ohio State, Minnesota. It's kind of a weird, wonky time for the Buckeyes as they take on the Golden Gophers. Also a spread that Ohio State is a team that I look at and I just question so much on, like, they're a team that every week I expect them to have 30-point spreads like they do here at 27.5. But I never feel confident that they can actually cover. Like, I feel confident that they deserve 30-point spreads, but I feel like they never cover. It's Minnesota, Ohio State. It's in Columbus, 4 o'clock kick, 27.5. What do you like about that game?
Okay, so yes, I do like Ohio State to cover the spread. I know 27.5 seems like a big number. Like you said, it should be a big number. And by the way, no one's a bigger Ohio State fan than me until we play them, because I want them to be as good as possible
Fair
until
enough.
Michigan beats them next Saturday. So, yes, I'm also rooting for Ohio State.
And do that without
What
John.
I think is very interesting, though, take a look at the futures. Right now, Marvin Harrison's plus 520 for the Heisman. I think Ohio State is going to feed him the ball over and over again. Right now, his receiving yards over under is at 103.5 on Typico. I love hammering that over. I think they're going to feed him. I think they want him to get the stats because I think they want him to get the Heisman. So, yes, I think Ohio State's going to cover, but more importantly, I'm taking that over on his receiving yards.
We are very proud on this show, Ryan, because Ryan and I, Sonny, on Typico, we got Harrison. I got him a month ago on Typico on Hugh, and it's just rocketed out up. And I agree. I don't know if I might cash it out. Like, I don't know if he's actually going to get it done, but I'll let him boost it a little this week and kind of see where we play out from there. To your Michigan Wolverines, what'd you think of it? Listen, Sonny, I said I was happy that this is finally over. He accepts the suspension. We can kind of move on, but you got your Michigan stuff on. What did you think of the Harbaugh suspension there? And let me ask you this from a sportsbook standpoint too. Does Harbaugh being suspended, did that change your guys' lines at all for this weekend or this past weekend?
Yeah, I saw the Ohio State-Michigan matchup go down to it went down by a point.
Okay.
We were at 6.5, now it's 5.5. It didn't change. We're still the outright favorite to win the Natty right now. So I guess, with Georgia's schedule, they still have to play Bama. It didn't really change that. Look, it's Michigan versus everybody. We're America's team. It was a crazy suspension from the get-go. Like, how do you suspend Harbaugh on Friday afternoon before the biggest game of the season thus far? That was crazy by the Big Ten commissioner. This has been a witch hunt from the beginning. There has been no proof, no evidence laid down. It's insane that they levied the suspension. But look, we got Sharon Moore. We are the best team in the country, and we're going to continue to win. He's going to be back for the playoff, so we're good. This is ridiculous, but it is what it is. At least it's over now.
Fair enough. There you go. 19 against those Terrapins. Maryland, I've always kind of waited for Mike Locksley to turn that team around a little bit. They're 6-4. It's 19. I think the same thing as I thought for Michigan Penn State. The Wolverines are out to prove a lot, and now that they have a game under their belt without Harbaugh, which I agree, that was kind of weird that they did it the way they did. So now they know all week he's not going to be. I think Sharon Moore is going to have an easier time to kind of figure out how to call plays and also be the head coach. I really expect Michigan to put up a lot of points against the Terrapins. You like them minus that 19?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to make them cry like he was crying last week. I can see, trying to make a statement here. I feel bad because there is nothing against the Terps, but they are now going to have to deal with the punishment that comes with, Michigan being scrutinized the last couple of weeks. Maryland did have that one half against Ohio State, right? I think everybody remembers that, right. But they haven't looked great since then. I do expect Michigan to really try to lay the beat down on Maryland this week.
3:30 down to the SEC. Number 1, Georgia. Number 16, Tennessee. Georgia, a 10-point road favorite. We know how hard it can be to play there against Tennessee. At this game, I do look a lot at Joe Milton and say if he can just somehow go crazy and put up a lot of stats and a lot of numbers. He's not had the season I think a lot of people expected on their side. What do you make of this game? Georgia's team, obviously, they're back to number 1 after their nice win over Ole Miss. They will stay number 1 clearly because, as the committee says, they value the top 25 wins. Tennessee's 18. Honestly, Sonny, I thought, and obviously you're the expert, is why you bring in. I thought this line would have been higher. Like, it's easy for me. I think I might jump here at Georgia minus that 10. Your thoughts?
I don't like it being a road matchup in the SEC. I think that's why you see the 10 and not a little bit higher. Like you said, I think we all expected Joe Milton to be a little bit better. Even me being a Michigan fan and seeing him in Michigan, I still expect him to be better than what it's been so far. But the team has clearly shown that they rally around him. So right now, I'm staying away from that minus 10.
Okay. I
really like the over. I know 58.5 is a really high number. And actually, we see more action on the under at the moment. Right now, 60% of the bets are on the under, but I really like that over. I think Georgia's going to come out here. Carson Beck has looked good as of late, so I think they're going to try to put some points, and I think that we easily hit that over.
I think the game of the weekend, no doubt about it, is Washington traveling to take on Oregon State. It is in Corvallis, which is probably why the Beavers are a 1-point favorite against the undefeated Huskies. Penix, DJ Ongalele is there now for Oregon State. And I don't know why, Sonny. I've caught a few Oregon State games, probably just late night, sitting there on Saturday night. You flip them on. They're 8-2, 11. I think they're sneaky. I don't know if they should be favored in this. I think I might take Washington. I'll tell you this, and I might do an alternate here on typical, or let the game kick off. I love doing this. Let the game kick off and see if it swings my way. Because I got to tell you, I love Oregon State plus 3.5. So I'd have to get that on an alternate because they're the favorite right now. I think it's going to be a really close game here. Washington, Oregon State. What do you like?
You said minus 1.5. It's -2 right now on our book.
Okay.
This feels like the last test for Washington. The Pac-12 always does it to himself, right? They always cannibalize themselves as we approach playoff time. This feels like the one that gets them, especially with how crazy this playoff picture is right now. They have to go undefeated, it feels like, to make the playoff. And I do worry for them that this is the one that gets them. So, yes, -2 does seem pretty crazy, especially if you're looking at Washington being the undefeated team right now. But I would not bet Washington right now. It does feel like this is the hardest test they'll face, and I do worry that they will lose. 62.5 is what I'm looking at right now. That's such a crazy high total. I like the under here. This is my lock of the week. I think last time I came on, I gave you a lock on the under, and this is my lock of the under of the week here, 62.5. Right now, we actually see 80% of the action on the under, and I'm with it as well. So I'm not going to touch it. This feels like one of those very close games, but I do feel like the under is a good play here.
Great stuff, Sonny. We always appreciate it. Download the Tipico app. Use that code BIGPLAY200. Get signed up. Listen to what Sonny says. Make your bets. Next week, Sonny, we got to do an Ohio State-Michigan thing. So I have to ask before I'll set it next week. Do you enjoy a cocktail from time to time? Are you a fan of the spirits?
I do. I do.
All right. Keep that in mind for next week. I will. If you are accepting of it next Friday, we will place a little wager on the Ohio State-Michigan game. Maybe we'll just do straight up money line, and somebody will be a victor there.
Straight up. I mean, we're laying 5.5 right now.
I mean, I'll take the points. If you're going to offer, I'll take them. I'll take them. But we'll talk about that next Friday, all right?
All right, sounds good.
Great stuff. There he is, Sonny Gup, the sportsbook manager there on Tipico. And again, use that code BIGPLAY200. Dude, that Oregon State-Washington game is going to be a lot of fun. So here's where I got. And the thing is, it can go back and forth. The alternate spread, I mentioned like that +3. I can't get that right. Oh, no. Wait a minute. I was looking at the wrong side of it. You dumbass. Me. Sorry. Oregon State +3, -190. So you know what I want to do right now? Ryan, you know me, baby.
Parlay that with the under.
Hell yeah. No. I'm just going to parlay that with some of my other favorites on NCAA. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get that at -190. I'm going to take Ohio State to just, like, I'm going to take Penn State. I probably don't trust Penn State. I'm going to take Michigan to beat Maryland, okay? And then I'm going to boost. Oh, it's at 4 o'clock. That's why. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I love to do on Tipico. My true bet is I like Oregon State plus that 3.5. So what I can do is I can boost it by taking, Notre Dame's -3,000 against Wake Forest. Let me throw that in just to boost my parlay. I'm going to take Ohio State to beat Minnesota at -4,000. I'm going to take Oregon to beat Arizona State. And now I've gotten that all the way up to almost equal money. I love that. I love it. Arkansas. Isn't Alabama going to kick the ever-living hell out of somebody this weekend? I can't even get them on the money line. They got some out-of-conference game, I think.
Gotta love that late in November.
Yeah. I'm staying away from that Georgia-Tennessee game. I don't know why. Seems a little dicey.
Matt, you know what my biggest takeaway from that interview with Sonny was?
What's that?
Your wonderful pronunciation of DJ. How do you say it?
Ongalele.
Ongalele.
It's not as hard as you think.
Very impressive, I must say.
It's not really. I mean, it's like anything with hard names. Just say it like 3 times fast. Ongalele.
It took me, I'd say,
to a Tunga Vailoa. Just say Tunga Vailoa.
It took me.
I had somebody one time tweet me, not to cut you off, sorry. Somebody's like, there's no N in Tunga Vailoa. And I said, go watch the video of Tua. Somebody asks him at Alabama in an interview to say his last name, and he says Tunga Vailoa. So I'm going to go off of that he knows how to say his own last name, okay?
Probably a safe bet.
DJ Ongalele. He was the Clemson guy.
Yeah.
Remember him? Yeah, he was at Clemson. He's supposed to be the next great Trevor Lawrence. Traded one orange for another. We'll see. I'm pretty excited. All right, we're derailing the show. I get all hooked up on Tipico, man. I love Tipico. It's the best. I'll get to that bet in a minute because, Ryan, we have got to get to our Friday report card. Back to the pros we go. Brown Steelers.
Let's do it.
All right, we start, as we always do, with the quarterbacks.
All right, so I feel bad about putting this. However, we see Kenny Pickett, QBR 81.1, completion percentage 61.3, below the average, and a touchdown, not horrible, to interception ratio 6-4. And Matt, I'll tell you what, I felt bad putting up DTR's numbers on here because it might be a little bit unfair. But right now, after his small sample size, he has a QBR of 28, a completion percentage of 54.1, and a not so good touchdown interception ratio of 0-3.
Here's my thing. As much as everybody wants to, Kenny Pickett gets crowned and then is he good or is he not? And I can't get a vibe on it. I think going with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the thing is, you trust Kenny Pickett more against the Browns defense than you do Dorian Thompson-Robinson against the Steelers defense. That's kind of how this factors out for this game. To that insanely low point total that we talked about with Sonny, that also, I think, is a reflection of the quarterbacks. Not only just these defenses, but certainly of the quarterbacks. Yeah, I mean, we got to lean Pickett. He's played more. He's had some bigger games. But do you know about that stat about the Steelers and a 400-yard passer?
You're not?
Hang on. Let me Google it. We've been, not behind the curve, we've been dealing with internet problems all morning. But.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about Kenny Pickett, and I've been saying this for a while, I realized when he kind of had a great second half of the year last year. He's the kind of quarterback. He's just, I think, has a very limited ceiling.
Yeah,
he's. I'll give him credit. I think he's an NFL-ready quarterback in the sense of game management and when to throw the ball away. He's smart with that. But he just has a limited ceiling. He's not going to win you games with these wild plays like we see from the elites, like Patrick Mahomes and that. But he's not going to necessarily lose you games. And I think that's a big factor. It's why we see somehow the Steelers team at 6-3.
So this is the stat that I was looking for. The Steelers now have 57 consecutive games without a 400-yard passer. That is the second longest streak in NFL history.
Wow.
And I think, I'm shooting from the hip, that's 57 for them. The next closest active streak is like 20 or something like that for 400-yard passers. So again, it's Roethlisberger at the end of his career, but now Pickett, and everybody got on Matt Canada. And everybody was talking about their slow starts. Matt Canada came down from the booth, and apparently that was the magic elixir because they on offense, and by the way, went all season without scoring on their opening drive. Last 2 games, scored on their opening drive. So everybody wants to buy into this Matt Canada on the sidelines thing, when in reality, I ask myself, is Kenny Pickett truly the guy? What has become apparent, and I'm not trying to make these comparisons, but it is what it is. He's like Baker Mayfield. I think he can be really good if it's in the right system with the right players and the right reads. And I don't think they were doing all of that. Now, part of your discovery of that is putting him in some bad situations and realizing, dude, he can't do that. Yeah. He can't make that throw. He can't make that play. But let's also call what it is, and we'll get to the rest of the offense here in just a second. I don't think Kenny Pickett's got a lot of weapons to throw to. We'll get to that in just a second. But, like, Pickett is a guy that needs help. Pickett is a guy that needs help, and I don't think he's getting a lot of help right now. Let's talk about Dorian Thompson-Robinson for a second. Expectation-wise, our bar is low. Do you want to know the one thing, Ryan, more than anything for DTR on Sunday for me? Guess. What do you think I'm going to say?
Don't turn the ball over?
Don't turn the freaking ball over. You are 100% correct. Just don't do that. He's going to throw an interception. I just know that. One is fine. Watch the strip sacks. Watch the fumbles when he runs. Just don't turn the ball over. I'll live with something. I'll live with anything beyond that. Why? I know Kevin Stefanski didn't say that this week about P.J. Walker. I believe that is the reason P.J. Walker is not your starting quarterback for this weekend. He turned the football over too much. Don't do that, DTR. Run the ball. Greg Williams, on this earlier, you missed it. Go back for the replay. What did Greg say? RPOs this weekend. Let's get a little RPO action going, and we'll see. So there's your quarterback matchup. We had to go with Kenny Pickett on that one. No.
Alrighty, well, we'll go to the position groups, but first, and they're kind of close, but first we'll start with one that I don't think is really that close, and that's, of course, head coach Mike Tomlin getting the nod over Stefanski. In my opinion, one of the top 5 coaches, or maybe not 5, but top 10 coaches for sure in NFL history, just because of what he's been able to do with some beat-up rosters. And you can't lie, it's been super impressive. And one of the storylines of this season is he's been able to lead a not-so-great offensively group to a 6-3 record.
So they are, Mike Tomlin in his career, 25-6-1 in his career against the Cleveland Browns. He's owned them. He has absolutely owned them through a lot of different players that have gone through there. I have a lot of respect for Mike Tomlin. I've said that for a long time, especially with his handling of the Mason Rudolph, Myles Garrett situation. That weighs heavy with me. But what is he? He's a defensive-minded guy. What do the Steelers want to do in this game? Run the ball and play defense. They know how to win here. They know how to play here. It's very clearly Mike Tomlin in this one over Kevin Stefanski. And it probably is one of the wide – it's one of the – to your point, you're right. It's one of the wider gaps of all the things that we're going to break down. What I'm looking up, though, how many Coach of the Years does Mike Tomlin have? Is he one of the ones that he's never won it?
I'm not sure
he's never won it,
Matt.
That's one of the gaudy stats. He's never won it.
But like you said, Matt, we've talked about this before. When you're that consistently good, especially in recent years, Coach of the Year award doesn't really necessarily tend to go to the best team with the best coach led, and more so the turnarounds we see. But the Steelers have consistently been great.
And that goes to one of his greatest stats, the NFL record: 16 consecutive non-losing seasons.
Mind-boggling.
Insane. And this year, what would we have been screaming? And look at the freaking Steelers, man. They're on their way to doing it again. I'm really impressed. Mike Tomlin's really good.
Alrighty, well, on to wide receiver, Matt. We gave Cleveland the nod, and we've seen a pretty common theme here with the Browns report cards as of late, which that being Amari Cooper has been the best receiver on the field. However, the reason it's been close is because the other teams seem to have a little bit more depth, a little more guys that we can say are more consistent, as the Browns really have just leaned on Amari Cooper. But now we've seen David Njoku kind of take a step up in this offense, which has been nice and it's been expected. But we gave Cleveland the nod here at the wide receiver position.
We did, and here's kind of how we got to this. Number one, he is the best receiver on the field, so you give that lean there. The problem is the next two best receivers are Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. In his career against the Cleveland Browns, in 7 games, he's got 30 receptions. It's only 4. The gaudy number is, Ryan, in 7 games, and I'm sorry, the internet's out. It's annoying the hell out of me. He's got almost 10 targets a game against the Cleveland Browns in his career, talking about Deontay Johnson. He's battled injuries. It seems like he's coming back to form. Then we get to George Pickens, and there were people in Pittsburgh screaming, give him the football. He's your best offensive player. Why are you not throwing him the football? But now he's throwing hissy fits, and he's unfollowing the Steelers on Instagram. None of that crap plays, especially for the Steelers. You think Mike Tomlin wants to put up with that crap?
We already saw that. Common theme here for the Steelers wide receivers, man.
And I think that's a little message that, okay, fine, we're not going to throw you the football then. Shut up.
Yeah, and the Steelers have consistently throughout the last decade been one of the teams that have been able to develop these later round receivers into real factors in the game, and it's been impressive. And we saw George Pickens, he's without a doubt, we've seen him make these highlight reels one of the more impressive
the smoke
pure
was
pass
there on
catchers.
him, yeah.
But some of the knocks on him have been the yards per separation yards per route run, excuse me. But like you said, a little bit of drama has been unfolded with him, so who knows what's going to happen with that.
Beyond that, then you'd probably go Elijah Moore. Allen Robinson is a corpse. He is nothing at all close to what he used to be. He's done. And then into the tight ends, Freiermuth's coming off of IR. He's going to play this weekend. Browns always seem to get busted up on the tight end. And Freiermuth's pretty good. I think at worst it's a wash between him and Njoku, but we had to give the edge there to the Steelers, just on a little bit more top-heavy on the receiver side of things.
Alrighty, well, to the running back, we gave Pittsburgh the nod here. Yeah. And although the Browns are second in running game in the NFL this year, however, you go look at Najee Harris and Jalen Warren.
It's really Jalen Warren now, yeah.
Two very good backs. And honestly, we've kind of seen a transition almost unexpectedly. Jalen Warren has been outplaying Najee Harris in a lot of statistics.
It's interesting that he's still not getting out-touched, because Harris got 3 more carries last week than Jalen Warren, but they're adopting what the Browns are doing. Here's your 2-back system. Now, the thing is, Najee Harris will always have the first-round pick, and you invested in him and all that kind of stuff, but they realize that they're better off, and Harris and Warren are like Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. One's a bruiser, and one can get your speed out to the corner a little bit. So really, it is the resurgence of Jalen Warren. This is close. And I could see people make the case for the Browns. Did we go Steelers on that?
For running back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
It's close. I might go with the Browns just because they're the second best rushing team in football, but we lean there just a little bit because the two here's the real reason why. The 2 projected starters for the Steelers are in there. That's not the case for the Cleveland Browns. The 2 projected starters for the Pittsburgh Steelers are at least in there for them. But the Browns have made hay when they can. Again, Cleveland, number 2 in the league in rushing. Pittsburgh, they're formidable. They're absolutely formidable in rushing the football. It's kind of what they like to do. So we'll have to see on that.
Alrighty, well, offensive line, we give the nod back to the Browns. We see DeJuan Jones is back at practice, so we hope he's going to play. And although we have had some massive injuries on our offensive line, we still gave the nod here to Cleveland.
Yeah, and that's where, again, even with the injuries, you're going to be facing teams that the majority of the time you are going to look at and say the Cleveland Browns are better on that offensive line. The big change for the Pittsburgh Steelers has been Broderick Jones. You will not miss him on Sunday because he is a massive, hulking human being. He was their first-round pick out of Georgia, and he wasn't playing, Ryan. For some reason, they decided to not play him. They've now inserted him in at that right tackle, and he moves bodies. That's where I think the run game has also helped out a little bit, is putting him in there. The rest of that offensive line, it's a little like the Browns. Their two best linemen are their guards, James Daniels, and then they have that Isaac Samalo, who used to play for the Eagles there for a little while. Where the Browns should take advantage should be Dan Moore, their left tackle, put Miles over him just a little bit. And it is Broderick Jones, who I said is having a better year, but still, it's Myles Garrett should be able to take advantage of that. Browns on the rushing attack, I really expect them to get after it just a little bit there on the passing.
Already, well, the last but not least.
I'm sorry, on the pass rush, I should say.
We gave Cleveland a nod on defense, Matt, because how could we not? I know that it's going to be a big game, honestly, for this maybe Defensive Player of the Year campaign. Always a primetime fun matchup when you have two of the most premier edge rushers in the league on both sides. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see what Myles can do. And if we're going to win this game, we're going to need Myles to be a game wrecker again.
Now, here's the crazy thing. The Steelers statistically have the 5th worst defense in football from a yardage standpoint. Browns are still number 1. Steelers are kind of, again, 6th worst in passing. The shocking thing is, usually, again, what you expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to do, they're not stopping the run either. They are bottom 10 in pass and rush, leading to them being the 5th worst defense in football from a statistical standpoint. Now, you want to talk about TJ Watt? Sure. And then Alex Highsmith? Sure. Do you want to know where it all starts for them, Ryan? They are plus 10 in the turnover margin. Part of that is, they don't turn the football over a lot. They are tied with, shockingly, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are not doing anything. The Bengals and the Saints, Steelers, and Jacksonville all have 18 turnovers this year, forced, including 10 interceptions. Nobody in football except the LA Chargers has more fumble recoveries than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
Who does that ring out to? TJ Watt. Because they like to strip the quarterback and they like to get after it. It kind of goes back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Got to hold on to that football. You can't turn it over. That's it. It's one of the biggest keys. So again, for the Browns defense, we gave them the edge here, frankly, because I think the numbers are a little skewed. And I think a problem that Pittsburgh has had is the offense, because the offense isn't clicking. The defense is right back out there. They're getting it done. But they get the ball, man. They take that ball away. Coach Greg, what did he mention? Taking the football away. Not the offense turning it over. It's taking it away from that offense is a big key for what the Steelers do. Are you shocked the line has, and special teams, Chris Boswell's fine, maybe Edge Browns, but defensive-wise, we'll give it there. I should probably look. I don't know. I just have it up. Kickoff average, punt average, anybody? Punting average. Oh, that's returning. Punting. Corey Borkes, 3rd in the league, man.
He's been playing great.
Steelers, mid-level of the pack there. Return yards, return average. Browns, middle of the pack. Steelers, middle of the pack. There you go. Just a quick special teams update.
Thanks, Matt.
For the Browns. Needed that for the Friday report card. There it is. Are you shocked that that this line has moved where the Browns are still the favorite in this game, right? Or has it moved again?
I haven't checked, but last time after the Deshaun news, it did. Well, we dropped but we were still 2.5-point favorite. But that was before the DTR announcement. I'm not sure if that's
let me. I just want, for essence of the show, NFL. Browns are still a 1-point favorite. Are you shocked by that?
Matt, I'm not shocked because you're projecting we're home. They already beat us once. Could we? You would think we can't really have a worse performance against the Steelers than we did that week 2. And you're projecting just our defense, obviously. In all essence, you're just projecting a super low scoring game, I think.
Tight
and
game.
It's more of a pick me. So they're just kind of giving it to the home field favorite, and I'm okay with it. I don't know if I'd bet it, unfortunately, but I'm not totally shocked by it.
And weather seems to be all right for Sunday. 57. I didn't look to see if there was a real chance of rain or anything like that, because you're leaning towards this being, again, maybe a sloppy game. The quarterbacks aren't playing all that well. But that's what the Browns need to do Sunday. You need to bring the Steelers back down to your level. The problem is they're kind of already there. You know what I mean? There's so many similarities to the Browns and the Steelers. They have some good offensive weapons. They have questions at quarterback. Our defense is a lot better at points, but you still have a guy like TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. That is probably why I think the Browns are still favored, is strictly because of the defense. And here's my reason why. I think the Browns and Steelers offense are semi-comparable on what they're doing and what has happened to them. Now, yes, I would take Kenny Pickett over Dorian Thompson-Robinson to start this game. But then the other intangibles, the Browns and Steelers offense are kind of here. I think the gap is the defense. The Browns defense is a little bit better than the Steelers. Certainly when you look at statistically and all that is laid out. So that's probably why the Browns are still favored in this, which is a little shock. At the end of the day, I just need to get to this game. I need to get to this game to kind of flush out everything that happened this week and not focus on it. We haven't seen any news. Has Flacco signed yet this morning, Ryan?
I have not seen.
Okay. But then you can actually, I think, come Monday, win, lose, or draw, which we, of course, have tied against the Pittsburgh Steelers prior, you will then be able to really fully reassess where you're at with Flacco, with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, with whoever it might be that you got to start at quarterback. But this game Sunday, it's just going to be like that emotional release for us, for the Browns, for the fans, for the players, just to get out there and play a game and let it play out. And make no mistake, this is not the same Pittsburgh Steelers team that they've been of the past. Even when we lost to them earlier in the year, I still came out and I go, I don't know, man. You have the Chubb injury, which impacted everything. Like, I get it, but this is not the same Steelers team. I think the rivalry will help because guys in that locker room are going to be up for this game. They're going to be ready to go, and it's at home. This is one of those games that being at home is just going to be such a huge help. I'm looking at this game for the wild card. I'm not looking at this game for the division. You have a team that you're going to be competing against for the wild card. Take them out of that. Take them out of that. And then we can start discussing on where you want to go with the playoffs. It's almost like get through this game, but go out there. If you're going to go out there, you might as well get a win. I need to get through this game and be ready to go for the stretch run here. The Steelers are vulnerable. The Steelers are a team that you can take advantage of. And goes back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. My best piece of advice, and I'm sure that's what they're telling him all this week, don't do too much. Just play your game. Don't turn the football over. And for everybody that captured all that excitement about DTR in the preseason, let's bring that to Sunday. The guy did make some plays. He knows he's going to start. They can trick this offense up for a little bit for him. I'm sure he learned a lot in that first Baltimore game. Of my low expectations for DTR, I actually think he's going to exceed them. I think Sunday will be a nice little game there for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Don't turn the football over. I think he gets in the end zone.
Yeah, Matt, I love the optimism. And we go back to our Twitter poll question. A lot of optimism there. Crazy. We asked, do you believe the Browns still have a shot to win the AFC North? 78.4% of people say yes.
All right.
Just 21.6% of people say no with 231 votes.
Good. The nice thing is a win helps you on both fronts on Sunday. A win does that for Sunday. So that's going to be great stuff. Let's go get it, Browns. Come on, let's get it done. I feel good about Ohio State. I think they should be able to cover against Minnesota. They're gearing up for that game against Michigan. Really a great slate of college football games for that. But let's get to Typico Ryan for the Cavaliers tonight as they welcome back home Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, the Detroit Pistons. This moved a point literally in 2 minutes since I checked. It's 8.5 for the Cavs tonight.
I like it. Pistons,
I like
right?
it too. Pistons, yeah. I don't see any boosts. Let me get some boosts here. Cavs, okay, you want a basketball boost for tonight?
Please, Matt.
Cavs to beat the Pistons, Nuggets to beat the Pelicans, and the Knicks to beat the Wizards. That's boosted at plus 180. You like it?
Yeah, you know what I do.
I don't have an individual boost for this Cavs game tonight, but that's all right. Get on Tipico. I'll take the Cavs minus that 9.5.
I'm right with
I
her.
really like it more at 7, but back home, is Garland going to play tonight?
I hope so.
I hope so. That'd be nice to do. So we'll see on that. Bet with Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY200 when you sign up. All right, Ryan, let's get to it. The bracket of the week.
You know, Matt,
you look upset.
Congratulations to Call of Duty. I'm not upset because you know what? It was expected. It is a historic, amazing franchise, and I've put many.
But there's
hours
been some crap, Ryan.
I did vote
for as
Grand
great as
Theft
some of
Auto.
it is. It's been really bad on
It
some
has.
other sides.
Matt, so I got to ask before we head out of here on this Football Friday.
Yes.
Give me your favorite and your least favorite Call of Duty.
I mean, favorite, you can't go wrong. Black Ops is my favorite. So for those who don't know, Call of Duty is this big franchise, but there's 3 different developers, and each of them kind of own a different, like when you hear Modern Warfare versus Black Ops versus like Ghosts or all the other ones that they've done, I've always liked Black Ops more, and that's what's up next, thank God. Not saying that Modern Warfare has been bad, but Black Ops has been. So Black Ops will always be it. People say Black Ops 2 is probably it. I liked 3. So, but I'd go Black Ops 2. My least favorite, World War II was okay. What was the one right after that? The 2019 Modern Warfare? Probably that one.
Okay.
Vanguard wasn't good either. That was the last one.
So I didn't play Vanguard. The 2 I didn't play were Vanguard and Infinity. Was it
Infinite War or something like that? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the jetpack one. A lot of people loved that for the jetpacks. I'll listen to that. I really wasn't a giant fan of that one either. So congratulations to Call of Duty. Go play this weekend if you can. Golf clap for everybody. This weekend's going to be huge. This weekend is going to be so big for the Cleveland Browns. Jim Donovan is back in the booth. I'm super excited for that. And a little announcement for myself. I will be on the pregame on Sunday from 9 to 11. Thank you for golf clap there. I'll be back on with Gerard. I'm super excited for that. I'll be filling in for Ken. So I'm going to bring the juice. I'm going to bring the karma for everybody this weekend. Get it done, Browns. It can be sloppy. It can be disgusting. It can be ugly, but you got to get a win against those Pittsburgh Steelers. I know people will be down there loud and proud. Bring it on. It's going to be fun. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, man, own it. Just go out there and have some fun, man. Don't turn the football over. Play like a beast. Do you want a bold prediction for Sunday? Miles Garrett gets a touchdown. Miles Garrett will score a touchdown.
Imagine if you could bet that.
I can go defensive touchdown.
You can do the defense, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm smelling a defensive score for the Browns again. And maybe Myles Garrett on a little strip sack fumble recovery touchdown. I'd love it. Don't go anywhere. Chico coming up 12-2 to continue your Football Friday right here on Big Play. Coach Greg loves it. Have a fantastic weekend. Be safe out there. Go Browns. Go Buckeyes. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. It's always just a little sweeter on Fridays. Take it easy.